bouncing, so
yeah.
we could jump back in the game. There's a limit to pub strat, and then there's also like, hey, our lanes all suck. So, question mark.
Yeah, I understand what Bruno's saying. The surprise factor is always going to be huge if you can make it happen. But Navi see those heroes and they're thinking to themselves, man, this is greed and more greed. And the only hero that they have on their team really to offset it is Venomancer. That's the only hero on their team that really has some kind of significant laning phase that you have to fear. And he's going to be bottom helping Doom, which if you want to argue that Doom probably has the least lane presence on the team aside from Meepo, who's playing a support, I get it. Yep. But still, we'll see. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say that this is so next level that I'm gonna be blown away.
Yeah, this is TI6 draft. Everybody's gonna be doing it then. Support Meepo buying wards. I also want to know what the skill build for this Fen is. Is he gonna actually go for the standard Stormhammer, max it out, and then just bottle Crow or just get runes and spam the wave, or is he gonna go some next level? I'm gonna push the wave with Warcry and do something sneaky. Hani also is one of those players that doesn't do the standard stuff. He likes to do something different.
Remember that during TI, Hani was telling everybody about his no-Ray Shadow Fiend strategy.
Oh, okay.
And Arrow was sitting next to him was just like, God, please don't ever do that in one of our games. It's so bad.
Maybe we're going to see Cleave and stats. That's pretty good.
It's decent, you know.
Yeah.
Stun's overrated. Especially on a team that doesn't have any other disable outside of Meepo net.
They have open wounds.
That's not a disable.
And a Doom Centaur Stomp sometimes.
Yeah. And if life wasn't already hard enough, Puppy already denied a creep mid, so Hani's not going to be having a great time. Okay,
so your question was, if Navi goes offensive try, then Fnatic is screwed. Well, good thing for Fnatic, it's only going to be a Batrider top, 1v1 against a Lifestealer. How would you rank this particular matchup 1v1, assuming the Meepo doesn't come in for ganks?
I think the Lifestealer obviously doesn't do great, but I don't think he necessarily does horrible either. Fnatic might edge him out a little bit on farm, but you also have to remember the Meepo's here too. And double net, if you get to level 4, you can actually get a kill in this lane. If you land open wounds, double poof, Batrider's strength gain is still decent, but I don't think it's enough to quite live through that. Just depends on how Fnatic plays it. He buys boots first, he realizes that there's aggressive potential, and Trixie's quite low here in the woods, but I think he's going to be just fine. Kuro's base move speed's 305, and Doom, unfortunately, is only 290. But he's got a salve. He's going to salve and walk around the tree. He's going to take more damage here, but I think he's fine. Yeah. Oh, maybe not. No, he ate his juke tree. He's going to throw out the clap to try to juke back into the woods. What is going on right now? Kuro's like, you know what, man? I give up.
Ooh, Fly's coming around here. He does have Venomancer Gale. It's going to hit on Kuroki, and Trixie's coming around. Trixie.
Oh, boy.
First blood time.
They have Roshan, maybe? Yeah, go for the Roshan tonight. He wants it so bad. Hani walks in front. Oh, and the first blood goes the way of Fnatic. Okay, Trixie gets the kill.
If I told you that these two line up before the game start, who's going to grab first blood?
Dude, my brain right now, it's leaking out of my ear. I don't understand. I get why Kuro was being that aggressive. He wants to really keep the Doom out of experience range. And to be fair, 3 heroes just chased him down, mid-even left.
Created.
Yeah, I mean, it is a marginal amount of room. But look at SFCS right now. He's 11-1. Right? He's almost hit every single creep, and he's got denies on top of that. So he's full souls already, and Hani's going to be having a bit of a hard time here.
Well, Hani would be having a harder time if he didn't get the assist gold, but...
Yeah, but it's 3 people assist gold, so it's not that impressive. When there's only 2 people there, you get a lot more. But once the 3rd person comes in, the gold is significantly cut.
Man, that patch change where they nerf all the assist gold.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious on how this Meepo's doing up top. He's doing quite okay.
It's not bad.
Yeah, once he hits level 3, he is legitimately one of the better support heroes in the game in terms of nuke damage potential. He's actually kind of zoned out Fnatic. I also found it very interesting. I never got a chance to talk about it as we see a foray in the jungle. There was a double damage on the Batrider in minute 1, and Arrow was just running straight up to him, giving him the right click. That, to me, was quite interesting, because normally the first initial reaction is, let's run from the double damage. But Arrow definitely knows this matchup quite well, and he's actually doing really well up top.
I think I've seen him play this before, actually. It may or may not have been against Fnatic, but he goes for the quick boots. He gets Orb of Venom because he realizes that if he gets in range, he's even putting extra points into open wounds. As soon as the opportunity presents itself in No Tails 3, that hero can very easily die.
Remember,
with or without the flame break. But it looks like bottom Fly is going to be in some trouble. Havos pops the sprint. Crush is going to be there. Who's going to get the last hit? Looks like it will, in fact, be Havos. And now he's got a kill to his name, too. So it's all tied up 1-1.
okay, this is what is supposed to be happening.
Yeah, yeah.
You're supposed to have the Navi stronger lane taking it over, and so far things are going well. The first blood's a little bit of a fluke, and they're getting it back. My question is, how early will Dendi start involving himself with the rest of the game? Are we going to see something very aggressive like Blink Dagger, which Dendi absolutely loves? Or are we going to see a little bit more of a teamfight oriented like a BKB or a Shadow Blade? We'll see.
Okay, simple.
Dendi's taking a little bit of harass in the mid lane.
No, it's just
But what's your thought here? Is he going to go aggressive quick?
JS?
Or is he going to just farm a little bit more?
Just because of Navi's style,
one that
I would
you're using the
probably
other lane.
lean more towards aggression than anything else, but I don't think he necessarily has to do that. He has a Slardar for that. I do think Slardar's probably going to end up going Blink in this case, just so he can be the one who goes in. Kuro is going to go Grave, so he can make sure that the one thing that I always kind of get annoyed with, actually might have to hold that thought, top lane, Fnatic could be in some trouble. Second net lands, Meepo poofs in, he's going to TP away. Very nicely done. Won't actually end up dying. Close call.
Yeah.
But good escape.
But this is exactly what we talked about, right? Once NoTail gets this level 3, he's going to come back with double net, open wounds. There's no running from that, so the TP is still a big victory for Fnatic. I consider lane completely won by Era at this point, and he could do whatever he wants. Phase speed upgrade, there you go. And I don't think Fnatic could do anything else. He even buys a smoke for himself just to get to the lane a little bit quicker, which is nice, but, that's a precious resource being wasted.
I think that as long as Navi keep their tower alive and Fnatic is able to get to the lane, spam Firefly on the creep wave to make sure that it dies, and no pressure is really done here, then I think that's still kind of in Navi's favor because they have double core farming right now, whereas Fnatic, they only have one. Just depends on how big of an impact this Meepo can actually have on the mid game, because you can see NoTail split his Meepos right now. He's got one towards mid, and he has one top. That way he can help gank whichever lane. Fly has also made the transition mid to try to make something happen maybe on Puppey or Dendi, and the creeps have been being stacked in the jungle this whole time. So Dendi's got a huge creep stack here at the large camp, and he's going to go ahead and eat that up. So now he's already level 7, yeah.
The Meepo's coming around
behind enemy lines. He finds Puppey. He actually cancels his net. Looks like they wanted to try to go for maybe SF instead, but they decide, you know what? We're too deep. We'll back out for now.
Yeah, I don't think a level 1 poof.
Oh, top as well. Fnatic, he's going to eat the net. Here comes the second Meepo. It's going to be another kill. Fnatic goes down. Era secures himself. Another kill. Well, not another kill, but another kill for the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, it sends him back to the base a second time here. So, yeah, the first send back maybe wasn't effective in terms of winning the lane entirely. I think this one kind of solidifies it. But yes, still 2 core farming. If you want to check on Slaughter's farm, doing quite well. Shadow Fiend leading the entire game. And we're going to see Slaughter going actually for Vanguard, it seems like. So, no initiation from Navi, kind of a passive play. I'm completely surprised by this.
The thing that kind of confuses me is why go Vanguard when your Batrider's having such a hard time? Fnatic is clearly struggling in this lane. He's got 9 CS and a death. I could understand if Fnatic was having a pretty good time not getting the Blink Dagger, but he's not going to have it for a very, very long time. So maybe they're just hoping that they can continue stacking the woods. Fnatic maybe goes back and gets his Blink Dagger that way. Era manages to steal most of that large camp there with his Infest, as Fnatic, I think, got one of those, but he's definitely struggling. And if this is just a Vanguard Slardar and he goes for the max Brent, max Crush, maybe he doesn't get Bash, I think that's still okay. But running at somebody is far less effective than blinking at them.
Definitely. It does help him with survivability, which, Fnatic does have quite a decent burst damage with that Venomancer and Meepo support combo. I still can't get over this Meepo support, and we'll see how much more impact NoTail's going to have. So far, he's actually doing quite well, winning the top lane entirely, setting up ganks in the mid lane. We have never seen a support like this where he could be multiple sides of the map at the same time. This is pretty next level, in my opinion.
It really is. The thing that's really risky about it is anticipating the lanes well enough to know you can pick it. Because we were both thinking to ourselves, man, if they just go aggressive, then this game is going to be crazy hard.
This game shows you can pick it blind no matter what, because they had one of the worst draft, in my opinion, but it's working so far.
Yeah, I think it's just a mistake, though, by Navi.
By Navi, the laning situation?
Yeah. From my perspective, they're relying very heavily on jungle stacking for the SF and the Batrider, which I get, which is why Puppey didn't want to go aggressive in the first place, because if you sit on that side of the map, even if you have a lane fail, the hero who's in the failed lane can always collapse and try to recover that way. But we're going to see a smoke coming towards mid. Looks like they want to try to go for Dendi here. He's going to walk pretty much right into NoTail, and Flies here as well, along with Trixie. No Doom, but I don't really think it matters. Dendi turns around. He wants to try to get a Raids kill, but not going to work. Hani comes in from the low ground with a stun, and they clean him up. Meepo actually secures the last hit. So it's 3-1 right now in favor of Fnatic, and I think they're starting to regret letting that support Meepo just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, the support Meepo basically pulled his way up to level 3, which is something like completely unheard of. Hani now involves himself yet with another kill. He is farming for the very standard build in terms of leveling. Meepo de-warding on high ground, and you could do that because he could just poof out.
He can't stun, yeah.
Yeah.
The Bat Rider throws a flame break, but it's going to be a little bit late. That is some cheeky stuff, but definitely worth it so far. No Tail is already level 6. Puppy's a full level behind, and that's with, I think, soaking a little bit of the creep stack experience. Just goes to show how effective it can be, just having that kind of mobility, like you were saying, 2 places at once. I don't know, man. This is like, it's blowing my freaking mind right now.
And Fnatic's, we talked about how Doom actually scales very slowly in the early game. He needs a lot of time before kicking onto online. Well, Era, you talked about how he needs a very good start. He's got that good start. He's free farming up the top lane. He's got phase and drums. If we're going to see a race car lifestealer, we're going to see it now. Era knows how to basically take advantage of the weakness in his opponent. And I say Navi right now don't really have what it takes to deal with this lifestealer at this moment.
My question is, can Dendi even go Blink Dagger in this game? I think he needs a BKB.
Yeah.
But even if he gets a BKB and he's the one rushing it, then...
Well, he's got a Blink Dagger now.
Okay. Well, I guess that answers my question.
I mean...
Dendi is never scared. Let's just say that much, right? Like, as a player, fearless. He doesn't care if your team has the potential to kill him if he makes one fumbled Blink. That's fine, because he's just not going to mess it up.
Like, to be honest, only Poison and Sting, like, or wards really mess your Blink Dagger plan up. Otherwise, you could just really easily get away from most stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, they still have a Grave.
Stormhammer and stuff, so, hey.
Top lane, Puppy. He's going to be having a sad time. Teleport coming in. It's going to be Kuro, so he will be able to save his... Courier. Big miss micro. No, Era turns. Okay, he gets it anyway.
Worf?
I guess. I mean, Era dying is actually not that great, especially since Havos gets the kill. But
Havos was just picking up
middle as well. Hani chasing down Dendi. He's going to be forced to pop the haste turn. Salves up. Hani going to be forced to TP away. Doesn't want to eat a double raise on his way out. So a lot of stuff happening all over the map here. It's I wouldn't say it's getting hectic.
More stuff on the bot lane though. Fnatic fireflying over the trees, trying to save himself. No Tail looking for the ensnare, not going to find it. Why is this allowed? Just going off the map. As Fnatic doomed. It doesn't matter though, because his Firefly already online, and Fnatic says, YOLO.
It's ending soon.
Oh, they're not going to chase.
They can't get him, unfortunately.
Oh. And No Tail. I'm just completely amazed by No Tail right now, as he is being so effective. I cannot see another support hero like CM or Rubik having this level of impact, just being the global. It's like a support with Prophet Teleport, it feels like. Better.
Yeah, because the Prophet Teleport actually has low impact at the early stages of the game, whereas No Tail is level 7.
Yep.
So he has max rank of Poof, and now he's even got a point into Geostrike. So the pressure's starting to come on here, onto Navi. I'm really confused about the Vanguard, though. I think Armlet is better, especially when you have a Grave on your side, you know what I mean? You want that aggressive potential. The way it scales with the minus armor from your ulti is extremely good, but bottom. You can see Kuro he's in a little bit of danger. He doesn't realize it, but he is, and Hani's just popping that war cry, man. Going to town on tier 1 mid.
Oh, No Tail running in right now. No, he's not going to go for it. You mean the Armlet versus Vanguard comparison as a non-initiation item, right? We both agree that he should be going Blink?
I think Blink would have been better.
Yeah.
But if you think of it this way, the Dazzle can only grave one person. So if you get one Blink Dagger, you're assuming you're graving that guy. But Teleport's coming in bottom. Trixie, he pops a Scorched Earth. Nice Gale by Fly. Yeah. Should buy him a little bit of time. He might continue to chase this. Still quite a few from Navi in the bottom lane. No reactionary TPs yet on the side of Fnatic. Havos just does not care, man. Nice War Stomp by Trixie. And both Trixie and Fly are going to be able to walk away just fine.
Yep, and all the meanwhile, No Tail is just roaming aggressively with his Meepo in the enemy jungle. He's looking for a Shadow Fiend, not going to find him. I think if he finds a Lich or a Kuroki Dazzle, it's an instant free kill for him at this point. With 2 Meepos at level 7, that should be a free kill, right?
Yeah, I believe so. He's only at 700 HP, so...
Again, I apologize for not knowing a lot of Meepo tech.
Dude, it's understandable. I don't think... I mean, we've seen Meepo before, but it wasn't very successful. I would say that this one is very well
the most successful I've ever seen before. Yeah,
easily.
Like, because we talked about one of Meepo's weaknesses. He requires so much, and he falls off so quickly. This one, if he falls off, whatever, but the Blink Dagger is going to come out. Trixie gets lasso back. He does have so much minus armor on him. Trixie gets blown up, and Dazzle picks up the kill.
So it looks like it should be a pretty easy tower. Oh, wow, middle. They managed to get Dendi as well. So No Tail was there. Almost dies there. Hani forced to pop God Strength. So it looks like there might potentially be a trade here. There's no glyph on the side of Navi, but Fnatic do have theirs. I don't think they're going to contest this, though. I think they're content for trading an offlane tower for a mid tower. I think that's a good trade for Fnatic. And they got Dendi on top of it.
Yeah, it's a shame that Fnatic does not have more mana. Like, he's actually getting a little bit more. If he had enough mana to actually pop up a couple more wards and then use that glyph, maybe they could have saved the tower. But yeah, it's going to be a trade, but obviously Fnatic very happy with that trade. They got the mid tower. Meanwhile, Fnatic's playing basically 4v5 because Arrow hasn't really involved himself in most of these engagements. Aside from the sniping that courier, he is also slowly pressuring the top lane by himself. So Fnatic really in the lead at this point.
Especially since they've killed Dendi twice. He's the hero who is supposed to have impact, I think, the earliest inside of the game, outside of maybe Fnatic, right? But we saw Fnatic start. We knew that he wasn't going to have that much of an impact, so now it's pretty much on him. Havos now picks up his Blink Dagger, so there's 3 blinks on the side of Navi. I think this is where the game potentially could start turning in their favor because they can start taking fights on their own terms. They don't have to wait for No Tail to come out of the woods and net Dendi mid again and accidentally die because of it. So I think this is the time where Navi can start making things happen.
Yep. Meanwhile, Hani picks up a Midas at 14 minutes in the game, so treads into Midas. What's your thought into this in terms of like granting him the level? Obviously, the attack speed is actually very welcome for a hero like Sven.
I think it is actually better on Sven than most heroes. I'd say maybe not the craziest of efficiency because he already has max Warcry and he already has max stun. The only other thing he's going to be getting is either cleave or stats, depending on how he wants to build it. But the longer the game goes, maybe they're just in it for the long haul. They know they have potentially 4 cores.
Right.
So delaying the game isn't necessarily going to be bad for them.
Sure.
They just have to make sure they play it right.
Alright, looks like initiation happening on the bot lane here. Hovos being caught out. The meeples are just everywhere. Wherever you don't look, that's where Meepo is. And we talked about the Blink Dagger choice.
He's got a blink. Meepo blink.
On support.
Yeah. I mean, it's only 15 minutes in, but they've already killed 2 towers, and No Tail was
like,
involved.
Are we just done with DreamLeague right now? Like, I think Fnatic wins by default.
Tower is under attack.
I'm feeling it, though. Fnatic pretty low health. Needs to be a little bit careful. No Tail's going to walk right into him. Gets lassoed. Frostblast going to be there as well. No Tail poofs in with the second Meepo. He should end up dying here. And unfortunately, Trixie is not able to get that Doom off. I believe the Chain Frost animation canceled it. Puppey, he's in some trouble. Fly with a very good ulti. There's the Shallow Grave on a Puppey, keeping him alive for a little while, but unfortunately, Kuro is not going to be so lucky. And Hani, he seals the deal with a God Strength auto attack on Puppies. So now it's 4-7. No Tail ends up dropping, but still, very favorable trade for Fnatic.
And now they're going straight into the Roshan pit. I just have to say that was really good communication from Fnatic. A lot of players, when you see a Grave, they just keep hitting that Grave unit. It's like, all right, I'm going to kill him. But immediately when the Grave came out, they just immediately shift focus onto, I think it was Dazzle, and then killed him, and then right back went onto the Lich. And now they're going to be rewarded with the Aegis. And yeah, they lost a Meepo, but whatever. He's already done his work. It took us so much. I think he took a Chain Frost and another like big AoE spell, so he's done his job.
Well, Havos goes in, man mode. He wants to try to delay this as long as he can, but I'm not sure if he can do it on his own. Fnatic's also nearby. They do both have blinks, but this is all 5 of Fnatic. Era's quite a bit low, but they do manage to get the Roshan, and he picks up the Aegis on top of that, so now Navi, of course, have to
blinks
retreat.
He finds Havos. Well, he's a little bit trouble. The race is going to clean him out.
The stun's there. Fnatic don't want to take this fight. Dendi's on the high ground, continuing to lob out some auto attacks. Trixie, he now gets amped up. A triple crush by Havos. The Era's going to get his Aegis popped here in just a second. Tries to toggle the armlet as best he can. Uses the rage. Dendi, in the meantime, going for flying. Havos still alive. This Vanguard doing absolute work. Dendi, in the meantime, he picks up the triple. Here comes the Requiem on top of the Aegis. Era loses almost all of his health immediately from the damage. And Navi, they managed to turn a huge team fight after what seemed like Fnatic had just taken a huge, huge lead. So bravo.
I mean,
from Navi.
It was it was so amazing team play, but I think it was a mistake for No Tail to jump up the cliff like that. Maybe he was feeling like they were winning the game so hard, they got the Aegis, but fighting up the hill,
back in.
Yeah, okay, Puppey, that's a free kill.
Yeah, he's going to take quite a bit of damage. No way he lifts through that, and Hani's like, yep, typical carry contribution, or in this case, I guess 2 contribution.
We're seeing the Vanguard coming out for Trixie, but I don't think this Vanguard is going to be effective at all, because if we look at the minus armor coming out from Navi, the other day we were having a Staff Cup match, and we're telling James, you're feeding hard, please get a Vanguard, but we're up against a Slaughter that game too, and you were telling me, you know, minus armor versus damage block, you don't want to be getting damage block, so I'm not sure whether you want to get a Vanguard. I personally like plate mail a little bit more.
Well, I think for the cost, just the... Oh, top lane. Almost. He's going to get caught out. So pretty much just dies to Era and No Tail. And that's an infested Meepo, by the way, which is pretty terrifying because it's basically 4 heroes that can pop on top of you at any point in time. But as far as the Vanguard goes, against this type of strategy, there's very little magic damage outside of basically Chain Frost and
Requiem,
raises.
I guess.
Yeah. But really, I do think that Vanguard is a little bit weird of a choice, especially considering nobody on the team so far is even trying to go for a mech. And I feel like if you're Trixie, mech would have been way better.
Yeah, actually there was an interesting, so you see a little bit of engagement up top Fnatic thinking about a lasso. Era's just so fast.
Yeah.
There's an interesting argument in the past whether you want to get Vanguard versus Mech as a kind of a survivability item. And Mech for most hero wins out. And I think in this particular scenario, we talked about damage block versus armor and things like that. I think you want to be on the Mech side as well. But what's on...
I think we had an accidental pause.
Yes, by James.
I think we just had a Finol James pause, basically.
Well, fortunately, there was no team... Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh, Fnatic's going to pay the price for that one. The puppy pause comes in. They get no tail for it, though. The Chain Frost doing quite a bit of work there. 1-for-1 trade, but again, it's a support for a hero who is supposed to be doing quite a bit. Oh, Era taking some more damage. Dendy's got that Blink Dagger still. He's very close to his BKB as well, only about 400 away. Here comes Havos. He gets the crush on Trixie. The Doom is not even going to be able to be used. He just gets exploded by the minus armor. The Shadow Wave was there as well. Dendy wants more, blinks forward. I think Navi might just have to be content with killing this tower because Havos is very far behind, and he's got that sting on him as well. So, free safe lane tower for Fnatic. They get 2 kills out of that. The Blink Dagger from Havos is coming in huge now.
Yeah, it feels like the 2 different styles of the Blink Dagger initiation. It's working out really well for Navi as Havos. He's doing the same thing that Meepo is doing, but he's not dying. Meepo, yeah, he's going in, he's trading himself for a kill, and that's okay because he's a support. Havos is not dying for these trades. In fact, they're just cleanly getting these kills, which is very important for himself as he is having a very respectable 2-2 and 6 score, especially for playing this kind of initiating. So we were kind of giving him a little bit of doubts early on for going that Vanguard first, but Havos knows best. He does. He's doing really well right now.
Vanguard's really good, though, when you actually have a lot of plus armor.
Yes.
You know, so it works basically the exact opposite of if you have mass minus armor, it's not good.
Lane here, infest, teleport, and there you go.
Rip.
So fast, so effective.
Yeah, that damage. Havos, oh, he wants to go for the blink. Oh, he blinks too far. He finds one Meepo, though. He will be able to pick off no tail. Very nicely done. He actually thought that he kept running, so he blinked a little bit far forward. But in the end, still manages to get revenge for his teammate.
So, I mean, this game we've been seeing a lot of kill in terms of trading back and forth, 11 to 11. If you look at the goal chart, it's dead even.
Yeah.
Who do you think this favors, you know, on the long term? On one side, you have 4 core on Fnatic. One of it actually has a Hannah Midas on the Sven. On the other side, I feel like the Radiant has a little bit more mobility with the, you know, Blink Dagger on Bat and Slaughter and Shadow Fiend, and maybe a little bit more of a well-rounded lineup. If it goes, you know, maybe 40, 45, 50 minutes, who does this favor?
I think that the longer the game goes, Doom actually becomes way better than most heroes who don't get a significant chunk of farm, just because you can negate the farm of another hero just by using Doom on him. Yep. I mean, the only person that I probably wouldn't Doom on the side of Navi is SF, because dooming him doesn't really do a whole lot, especially once he starts getting some right-click items. And like you mentioned, Navi are going mass blinks, which means that they want to be aggressive, they want to start taking fights now. They realize that this is the time in the game where they need to make the most happen. I don't really think that Navi can take an ultra late game against Fnatic. I mean, a fully farmed Meepo is actually crazy hard to deal with. Lifestealer, Doom, and Sven on top of that. Warcry, just the sheer damage output they have, and the capability of shutting down a hero. And speaking of, they want to go for Dendy. Very fast BKB, pops straight away. Eric goes to town. He wants to try to get a kill. Trixie in the meantime, he's going to get lassoed in the middle of the team. Havos, though, he eats a stun. Nice flame break by Fnatic, going to buy him time. Trixie doesn't get his Doom off again. And now Fnatic, they're on the run. Blanking from Dendy. There's the raise. Give him a double kill. Hani, he's on the run too. He wants to try to get back to base. I think he might just be able to make it. Still a couple of seconds left on the blink cooldown. They manage to stun Dendy again, but Era, he simply can't go in on this. Fnatic, he doesn't want to give up. The flame breaks there, and Navi are diving past tier 2 towers here at the 22-minute mark, and that fight went as good as it could have. I am just so impressed with the capability of Navi stopping Trixie from ever using Doom.
Yeah, the focus fire is absolutely insane, and it helps when you have 3 Blink Daggers to immediately go in, locate him down, and just shut him dead. I think that was another mistake by Fnatic. They saw Dendy, arguably he just picked up the BKB, but they blinked in with 3 Meepo on Dendy. Dendy just activated BKB and says, okay, thank you for initiating for me, and he just popped the Requiem. Also, Lifestealer was forced to actually go onto the Shadow Fiend because, well, your Meepo's already going in. You kind of have to commit. So I'm not sure it was a lack of communication for the team for not pointing out there was a BKB, but they lost 2 towers, 4 hero kills, and we were just talking about that Navi needs to actually basically turn on the engine right now and win this game in the short run. You don't want to go into 40, 50, 60-minute territory because they just don't scale that well. Well, engagements like those really, really help Navi.
I couldn't agree more, man. Look at Dendy's farm right now. He's got BKB, Blink, 3,000 gold. It's only 23 minutes in. He's the highest in the net worth by a pretty decent margin. Era's still kind of keeping it close, and of course, Havos is right below him. But the thing that's kind of impressive, actually, is still how bad the early game was for Navi and how quickly they turned it around. Because No-Tail was getting a ton out of this, and actually Ancients here, we might see a death, Havos. He's going to get caught out by No-Tail. That blinking Meepo Infest on Era proves out to be pretty damn strong. Like, you can't run from that unless you have a BKB.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the only way.
I think this is actually the most impressive support I've ever seen. Like, the Meepo side, like, he is just doing so much work, shutting down the enemy carry. Can you imagine a support blinking to a carry and just initiating like that? But once Slaughter picks up that BKB, and he's very close to it, I think Meepo's effectiveness is going to just plummet. Like, Meepo can't actually do anything beyond that anymore.
Well, the other thing is, too, Trixie, we kind of talked about how he's never been able to get his ulti off during fights. Navi are focusing him so hard. Like, every single fight, either Fnatic or Havos go for him. When the Roshan pit, or when they were fighting around that after Fnatic had just gotten the Aegis, Havos got a 3-man crush, including on Trixie, and they just blew him up. Okay. And they've been doing that every single fight. So if this hero never gets to use the skill that he's known for, then his effectiveness has pretty much been nil, like most of the game. And it's not necessarily on him. I just feel as though he needs a better way of getting into the fight. Because against
like
so many
blink
blinks,
dagger, perhaps?
Yeah, against so many blinks, what do you expect to do? You have to doom the proper target at the right time in order for the skill to actually be useful. And you can't doom Dendy unless he hasn't BKB'd. And then maybe you could try to go for something like that. But without any form of initiation, how does he really do it?
Do you feel that maybe the other teammates of Fnatic try to get a couple items to help him? Like for maybe a Force Staff, use it defensively when Trixie's getting initiated, or maybe having a mech on the Meepo. Now, mech on Meepo normally isn't a very good item. You want to go for bigger things like Acceptor. But in this case, he's a support Meepo.
Yeah.
Do you want to consider a mech on him maybe, or maybe a Force Staff on your Venomancer, perhaps?
I think either would be good. I think mech at this point might be a little bit hopeful, you know, trying to turn it around.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, too little, too late. The health is nice, sure, but I don't think it's going to make that glaring of a difference inside of the team fights. I think the initiation dictates the pace of the fight flat out. So I think that having a Force Staff on him or having a blink even on Trixie just to be able to get the Doom off before he explodes would be ideal. Because he has the Wolf Aura as well. And at this stage, 30% extra damage is a pretty big deal, especially when you have 4 cores and the majority of them doing a whole heck of a lot of physical damage. So if he dies at the start every single time, it's actually a huge hit to Fnatic.
It feels like right now Fnatic, sure, we keep saying that they have 4 core. The problem is they have very difficulty dealing that damage. We kind of touch on it with Doom not being able to use the spell, but has Sven been right-clicking these fights? It feels like he's like
in and out with Stormbolts, man.
Yeah, he's walking in, Stormbolt, using Warcry maybe.
But he didn't have BKB, but now he does.
Okay. So this is where he goes Super Saiyan, or is he going to just get lassoed up and maybe not do much?
I don't think he'll be the target of a lasso, unless they know for sure that they can kill Trixie with maybe a Slardar blink.
Okay, so we'll see how Navi wants to take this particular fight. We know what Fnatic wants to do.